Hello and welcome everyone. Today we'll be discussing about various cloud platforms designed for Internet of Things. These are the learning outcomes. By the end of this session, students will be able to classify various IoT cloud platforms. So I'll be discussing about some of the top IoT cloud platforms available in today's market. So as of now, we have Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure and also IBM Blue Cloud as one of the most trending IoT solutions provider. So let's get into the details. So I'll be first of all giving you an introduction of how this IoT platform is important and what role it actually plays and where exactly it lies in your cloud platform architecture. And then we'll be going through an example which will be discussed with the help of an online browser-based dashboard system. Okay, so if you look at the cloud computing architecture, as you are able to see on the screen, that you have basically three things. The first one is the application layer, and the second one is going to be the platform layer, and the third one is going to be the infrastructure. So as you can see on the slide, basically cloud computing is composed of three layers. So the first layer is an application layer, the second layer is a platform layer, and the third layer is an infrastructure layer. So apart from these three layers, you also have some hidden layers where the things are actually working in the backend, like maybe in the firmware of a microcontroller and the other stuffs. So in a broad overview, as you can observe, out of these three areas, there is the first layer called application layer, where we generally focus on some of the devices like monitoring, collaboration, communication, and finance. Whereas in the second layer, we have object storage, identity, runtime, queue, databases, or exactly whatever data you are pumping onto the cloud servers. The data, whatever you are storing, so these storage servers are going to be the part of our platform. And the third one is going to be the infrastructure, where the exact physical devices like maybe you have some 1,000 computers or maybe some 1 lakh hard disks and rest of the things. So let's go into the details and see where exactly it lies. So we are going to further discuss today like these three services, as we have seen earlier. Application, platform, and infrastructure layers of a cloud computing are actually provided as a service. So these are sometimes known as application as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service for a cloud-based architecture, for maybe you're talking about a web service or even an IoT-based system. So to go into more details, let's have a look at a small example where you have few devices. So these devices may be, for example, if you consider a cell phone, or you might be having a medical instrument, or it would be any underlying global positioning tracker that's affixed inside a vehicle. So any of these kind of things actually compose the devices category. So apart from this, in the second layer, what we have is any sort of connectivity. I mean, whatever sensors that we actually affix inside these devices, which are supposed to sense the data, maybe regarding the environment, or maybe the physical conditions of your vehicle, maybe the physical condition of a patient, or maybe some of the positioning systems of your cell phone. It could be anything. So this particular amount of data is going to be acting as an information, and this information in the form of either in the binary logic or maybe in the form of raw data or an encrypted format is going to be pumped onto our internet. So here what we need to take care that whatever data that these devices are actually sensing, that has to be passed on to our cloud. So if we are unable to pass this particular data to the cloud, then there is no possibility of storing these kind of data anywhere. So now what we are about to focus is these devices are going to sense some sort of data, and that is either connected through a Wi-Fi, or it is connected through maybe your ISP provider based internet, or it could be directly transferred to the cloud servers through the satellite. So once this data is transferred to the cloud, you need to talk about certain protocols, like either we are using an XML like we have seen in our earlier video, whether we are using MQTT or any IoT based protocol like COAP and other stuff. So COIP and MQTT being one of the most popular IoT protocols, we need to check like whether our cloud, whichever we are going to select as a platform, must be supporting those protocols which we want to be understood. So the main reason why we are discussing upon this example is that it's fine that we might be having numerous amount of devices, but whether you want to transfer that data through the means of a Bluetooth, or whether you want to transfer the data with the help of Wi-Fi network, or whether you want that data to be transferred to a central gateway and later on that gateway is going to take care of transferring the data to the cloud. These kind of scenarios and the variety of the communication and the kind of topology that we are going to implement in our ground level architecture, or so called the edge devices, plays an important role in the selection of platform for our cloud. So what I mean to say is that, for example, let us say that I'm using some device which is measuring maybe the speed of a particular vehicle. I have the data like maybe 10 kilometers per hour or 100 kilometers per hour that is being transferred to the cloud. I'm trying to transfer the data to the cloud through a Wi-Fi network, for example. And the protocol that I'm writing inside the controller, which lies along, which resides along with this particular sensor, and it understands only the MQTT protocol, for example. And let us say that your cloud doesn't have any knowledge regarding the MQTT. So whenever you have a scene like you are able to talk with the protocol standards of MQTT, but your cloud is unable to understand what is the meaning of MQTT, then in such a situation you are going to stuck in a platform. Understanding what protocol your platform understands is a very important role to understand before selection of the platform. Now let us say that I am transferring the data from a particular speed measurement device to my cloud, which is following the MQTT standard, and also my cloud understands what is MQTT, for example. Then I'm good to go with the features that my cloud service is being providing me. So what I mean to say is that I am transferring the speed of my vehicle, like maybe 15 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 30 kilometers on a live basis to my cloud, and my cloud is able to actually gather that whole amount of data onto its own database servers. Now I want to use a couple of features that my cloud server is going to provide. For example, my data is going to be stored in its storage service, whereas for example, if I have a service that is being provided by my cloud server, maybe like data analytics, and I want to extract the data onto a visual screen, maybe I want to design a web page where I want to actually visualize the data, like how many people on a specific given highway are traveling with a speed greater than 80 kilometers per hour. If that's my task, then this is something known as an analytics. So IoT in general is not only internet plus physical objects plus some sort of intelligence written inside the firmware, in the form of firmware inside a microcontroller, like we have seen as per our IoT equation in our earlier video. But also it has some sort of intelligence that is being provided either in the form of a feature being provided by the cloud, or it is going to be a feature that is being written by your own web server that you are building on the cloud. So to enlist a couple of top web services which are mostly used nowadays as of making this particular video are given in priority basis. So as you can see, the first one being Amazon Web Service is the top one, whereas the second one is Microsoft Azure, and the third one is IBM, like I have stated in the beginning of this video. Now let us have a quick look at how to use and understand these IoT platforms. So we are going to compare, whenever you are about to select a particular cloud platform for your own IoT application, then we are going to understand and select that particular cloud platform depending upon the following features. So what we have here is we have a provider, like for example, I want to identify, if I just come to know maybe by some of my colleagues who is already using a cloud server for his own IoT application, then I'm going to probably ask him like what is going to be who is the actual provider of the service. So if I find like Microsoft or IBM or Amazon, as I'm already aware of these companies and I feel that yes, definitely these are going to be the standard ones, so I'm going to select it either on the basis of provider. Similarly, it is going to be either on the basis of hosting. I mean, what kind of hosting they are providing. Hosting in the sense the storage content, whichever they are providing, either it is a basis, I mean, whether the storage element is actually dependent on a Linux operating system or a Windows operating system, whether I need to purchase the storage servers, or on what data limits, are there any data limits I'm having if I choose a particular IoT cloud platform. All these things I need to keep in mind. So similarly, as we have discussed with this within that example, like what kind of protocols it is supporting, the server language, whether like .NET, maybe you're using Node-RED or Node.js, AngularJS, whatever recent cloud technology programming languages are in the trend nowadays, whether it is being supported or not. So along with that, I also want to understand what are the client languages, whether there is a mobile SDK present, so that I can design my own Android app for this one. Similarly, the kinds of data storage, their limits, whether any binary data storage is available. For example, I want to store my own raw image of a image, or maybe a JPEG file in the form of a binary, then I probably go for its blob capability. Similarly, I have geo-tracking available or not, whether it is allowing push notifications, triggers, and visualizations. So what you need to keep in mind as a takeaway of this session is that you need to focus on a certain facts like protocols, the standards, the languages, and the kind of wireless technology that your server is providing. Just as a small overview, this is Amazon IoT service, which is giving us the following things. It has two small sections called Things and Cloud. Things is where Amazon actually supports two things, like either Amazon Greengrass or it gives us Amazon FreeRTOS. So we'll be going into a little bit detail about what are all these services in short, and then we'll be discussing about what is the basic costing structure in our upcoming video. Here are the references that was used for this session. Thank you.